Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast. Round 22, one and done. In the books, goodness me. We are literally sprinting to the finish line, it feels like at the moment. Where is this season gone? Absolutely no idea, but we're at almost the finish line. For super coaches out there, we're at the finals now for head-to-head for majority of comps out there. So a lot of people out there keen to see updates and make sure they've gotten in for either draft or head-to-head finals, which is really exciting. But for this one, we are here to discuss everything that happened over the weekend that was in the NRL and NRLW. First of all, huge shout out to the Caxton Street Brewing Company, our major sponsor for the page. Again, if you are around the Brisbane area at any sort of point each day, make sure you stop in, have a drink, have a bite to eat. We have a couple of really cool events coming up, a couple of live get-togethers as well before a couple of big games. So we'll let you know about that very, very shortly this week. There'll be a couple of posts to talk about with that, pairing up with a couple of big names also. And we've got a couple of really cool podcasts to do there throughout the end of the year as we run into the finals and then a season review. So a lot of really exciting things to share with you guys into the future. And again, it's all thanks to the Caxton Street Brewing Company and you guys for listening and helping out, sharing, supporting, all that sort of thing. Secondly, these hoodies are now out. They're now live. So if you are interested, please make sure you message the page to secure yours. $69 at the moment. Really, really good price. Really awesome quality as well. I can't say this enough. It's an awesome fit. Awesome coloring. There's a nice little touch at the back of the jumper as well. A little established 2020 as well. So nice little touches they've got there. Not over the top, just nice, perfect design in my opinion. Make sure you're one of the first to put your hands on that. We've got a newcomer here, but first of all, I will introduce Trav once again. Trav's back. So far, he hasn't coughed yet, so we might be in the running for a podcast in about first time in about a month where he hasn't coughed live on air. Trav, mate, you might be starting to feel a bit better, if I dare say that. If I dare.
Yeah, touch wood, please. Put your hands on your head. I'm actually probably about 75%. Finally, it's only literally taken 3.5 weeks where I've gone from flu A to viral meningitis to then getting flu B, and it sucked, man. But it's all right. I'm on the end of it. I'm back to work tomorrow, which is actually good. I'm really excited to get back to work. I've missed my routine. I've missed my kids in my class, and yeah, so. But yeah,
they've forgotten what you've looked like.
Oh, 100% they have. I've had a couple of staff members message me about that they don't remember me. So they will tomorrow, I can tell you that.
But we have a new face for those watching on YouTube, or we have a new voice for those listening on the podcast. Again, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, however you are watching or listening. We've got Matt. Matt is a footy fanatic, and if you are watching, you can see in the background, he's a bit of a Broncos freak as well. Funny enough, he was supposed to be on last week, but obviously the Eels did beat the Broncos, so didn't allow me to have any gloating time whatsoever. So that's very well planned by Matt. I'll give him credit for that one. But it was a bad loss for your boys, so I was really hoping to have something to say, but now I can't. And now you've come on after beating a third grade side by 50. So well done to the Broncos. But first of all, mate, before we get stuck into a massive show tonight, you've come in for a big one. There's a lot to talk about. How are you, mate? And just quickly want to let everyone know a bit of your background, obviously Broncos fan, things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, boys. I'm from Newcastle, so I live in Newey, where the Magic Round for the girls was obviously this week. So, it was pissing down rain all weekend, so we'll talk about that, obviously. But yeah, I love playing touch footy still. I'm 32 and still love to get out there and have a run and love watching me footy still. So yeah, keen to talk to you boys and thanks for having me on.
That's all right, mate. We'll the audience, they are very honest. They'll tell you if you drop the ball at any stage. Me and Trav have worn it a number of times now. Our audience is good though. They're very fair. They're very good judges. So let us know in the comments. Give them a shout out. Give them a welcome as well. You'll be hearing a lot more of Matt throughout the weeks to come and into the future. That is for sure. Let's rip and tear. Matt did sort of mention it already, but just a quick shout out to the NRLW. Obviously, the Magic Round over the weekend. a bludger of a weekend to have it. Unfortunately, it was pissing down for majority of every single game, pretty much. The field, I actually felt like held up pretty well considering. Yeah, there was mud and things like that, but it was literally nonstop rain. For anytime I watched it and kept my eye on it, it was just pissing down. So absolutely crazy conditions. I'm surprised some of those girls didn't go out in their flippers and their snorkels, things like that. Matt, you're obviously the local, so you can probably comment a bit more on the weather and the reality of it, but it looked horrible.
Yeah, it was, mate. It was. On Sunday, we normally play touch footy. Obviously, I didn't play. The fields were all under a fair bit of water. Yeah, there was legit flooding around the joint. So, yeah, it was pretty wild weather, pretty bad weekend for them to obviously come up and showcase that. So,
yeah. And
yeah.
like it was actually some really good games. There was a couple of really good matchups throughout the weekend for the NRLW. And considering the weather and the conditions that they had to play in, there was actually some pretty good games put on. And it finished with an absolute cracker, which was the Eels versus the Dragons game. Eels won it with a couple of minutes left on the clock after having a number of key players go down injured and head knocks, things like that. So really quality weekend, Trav. It was just very unfortunate that the weather played a bit of havoc. So I guess on the TV cam and the crowd, it really impacted the crowd figure, the conditions, but that was the disappointing side of it. But the girls, they didn't shy away from it.
No, they didn't. Uncontrollable though, isn't it? Like weather footy, we play to win a game. It is what it is. It's just coincided with a terrible weekend of weather. I'll give a shout out. I only watched a couple of games. I've got a family and I'm preparing for work and stuff again, and then trying to get all the NRL stuff, but as well. But I watched a couple of games. God, the Roosters look good, don't they? Like in that game and what they did to do it in that weather with what happened, and then win 34-4. Like, man, like what a game. Geez, they look good. And the other one that I'll give a shout out to is the Broncos. Didn't they look good too? Like a 28-14 win against the Sharks, 2nd versus 8th. I thought that they're just two standout teams, and turn up in a game like in weather like that and do what they did. They were just dominant. I think it's their 2 season, to be fair. The
Sharkies knocked them out last year in the finals as well, so there was a bit of bad blood between the two teams. The Broncos had that highlighted on their calendar to make sure they put a statement up against the Sharks, and they did just that. It was a very good performance, and both those two are probably the heavy favourites for this year's competition, and it'd be great to see them come up against each other and see what happens there. Let's get into some of the NRL side of things, and first up, I want to talk about something that happened and was decided upon throughout the weekend, and it's had a lot of people talking. We put a post up, and it's got a lot of traction, so it's obviously a very heated topic. To be honest, I think majority of everyone out there is agreeing on the decision. They're just questioning the time frame of it, and that's the Marky Mark decision. I'm going to basically call it because that's what it is. The NRL now deciding that anyone who's come into the NRL is and has played over 5 games of first grade football, basically, isn't eligible to be an NRL rookie anymore. I think when you look at the season overall, I actually personally felt like Marky Mark is in front for this award. And it just seems it's left me a very sour taste in my mouth the time of that they've done this. This is now 5 weeks before the end of the season, and it's just I don't get how the NRL can come out and make this rule now. It just seems so NRL to do this. Like that's the hard thing to believe that this is just typical of them. Do it before the season starts, knowing that this guy's about to have a full season in the NRL. We all know his talents. Like everyone who all they have to do is type in his name in YouTube, and you would have seen how freakish this guy can be. Or suck it up and just wear the point that he actually can win it this year and change it in the off season next year. That's where I was a bit put off by it. That's where I'm a bit annoyed. I don't mind the rule. I actually don't mind it. But at the same time, it's called NRL rookie. Like I just feel like whether you have come from a background or not, if this is your first NRL season, your class is an NRL rookie as well, which a few people have messaged me about that as well. Trav, where are you at with this decision? It just seems very reactionary from the NRL once again when there's a high chance that this bloke was going to win it.
Isn't it I'm going to go a little bit off track here, but isn't it classic NRL? Like to come to round 22 and make a change now on a call that on a position where fans have been able to bet on. Yes, is that right? I don't gamble much, so but you're
I don't
allowed
think
to.
you can anymore. You
No,
can't do
you
any
can't.
gambling on the
Okay.
Dalian.
Oh, well, there you go. So, but either way, it's still round 22. You've had 22 rounds to decide. You had the whole preseason. Mark turned up last year and played the last game. So it's not like he's a newcomer. We all know who he is. There was a guy on the post on the page today who put some really good stats up, which I went and had a look to confirm just to double check. But he's played 58 games for the Waratahs, 11 caps for the Wallabies, right? So I understand the uproar around people. Like, it's not like he's a pure blown rookie who's just come through the juniors, or he's a pure blown rookie who's, a mature age, who's in his late 20s and finally got a crack and then and everything's clicked for him and off he goes. Like, he's had a career. Like, he's been able to have a big career. So I understand what people are saying in the uproar, but at the end of the day, the rule was set right at the start of the year. Like, this is what it was. So he's played for 22 rounds with this idea that this is what it was. And now it's changed because things have happened around the competition and he's looking like the front runner for it. I just think that's a farce. It's a complete and utter joke. And it's not fair to him. It's really not fair to him or the club that you've been playing this whole year under this notion that you may be able to win it. And then right at the end, it's taken away from you because they decide that they don't like it. So look, it's a little bit petty, but yeah. And I don't buy into anyone telling me that it's a young person's award or it's for the up and coming kids, because I don't like that either. I think it could just as much be a 30-year-old who's never really had a chance, or injuries have curtailed their career. They've never been able to play, or they've, depending on position or whatever, and then something just clicks. And it does, and it happens. And for some people, they have one good season in their whole career. I don't want to buy into that either. It's not just for the rookies or young people. It could be for anyone that's just jumped into the competition. So, yeah, I don't like this. It screams classic NRL. Let's just fly at the seat of our pants and make rules as we decide to, as they come, and then we'll just go from there. We don't care.
Matty boy, yeah, you're in with a hot one here. Let us know, what are your thoughts around it?
I tend to agree with you, boys. It is NRL, it's very reaction instead of being proactive, which is, NRL's main sort of thing that they do, no matter who's managing, if it's David Gallup, if it's, old mate in from Racing New South Wales, what's his name?
PBL.
PBL, yeah, it doesn't matter who it is. The NRL's always the same. We do the same things. And the only problem I have with this is because we've, just done it instantly, made a rule, there hasn't been any forethought of what else could that possibly affect, What could this rule affect in say, 20 years? We've brought in this stupid rule, potentially, with hindsight, we don't know. I just find it, quite strange. They can just bring in a rule and, change a bloke's sort of career in a way. That's a pretty good accolade to get, Josh Dugan, George Burgess. Who else? Tim Smith, I believe, maybe won it. It's a good accolade. So I think it's a pretty wrong to take that away from him.
The thing I don't get either is that it's like they're just assuming that rugby converts come over and they all kill it. Like, there is a number out there who tried to come over to the NRL and they failed miserably. It's actually quite a tough task for them to do. So this shouldn't take it away from anyone who can actually succeed, and whether they've got experience like Mark Nawanga-Nitawasi does have or not, because it's incredibly tough. Like, to go either way, it's very, very tough for them to adapt to. They've trained their whole life playing a particular code to then come over. I just think it's the wrong message to send over, because it is an NRL rookie. He is an NRL rookie. Whether how old he is, he is an NRL rookie, and he's done a remarkable job. There is still plenty of flaws in his game. There is defensive reads he gets wrong. The high ball is still quite questionable under. Welcome to being a rookie. Like, welcome to common errors that rookies make on a week-to-week basis. So Yeah, very interesting one. And like I said, I think we all can agree on this one, is that the time frame of this is just ridiculous. And it doesn't sit well with me at all. It's like once again, the NRL's just decided, oh, we've made a mistake here, and tried to just fix their mistake at the start of the year that they should have made. Just doesn't sit real well. But let us know in the comments. If you haven't let us know in the post yet, let us know how you feel about this one. Obviously, we had a League of Inches Cup held on the weekend. It happened on Thursday night now, so it's a bit of a forgotten talking point. But unfortunately, the Eels went down to the Melbourne Storm in a very tight affair that, look, we've gone away from dissecting games and that because it was going for too long and things like that. But just this one quickly, we will, because it's my team versus Trav's team, we thought it'd be best just to have a bit of a chat on air about the game itself. Am I wrong in saying, and I want to go to Matt first, he is the neutral, but I thought the better team lost. I know it's very controversial to say that. A lot of people go, well, the team won, so they're the better team. But I thought the Eels, I know I try and take my blue and gold glasses off, which I try and pride myself on doing in these podcasts, but I was really impressed. There was a number of silly errors and a little bit of discipline that did let the Eels down, but overall, I felt like, and you can prove me wrong here, Matt, please do. Don't sit on the fence, but I thought the Eels were better.
No worries. No, well, I think a reason to say that is on the eye. Melbourne didn't exactly manufacture any tries. All their tries were from kicks. So it doesn't quite matter how good the defense is. You know, the defense can be impeccable and perfect, which it was in terms of, playing really outside-in style due to the weather. They stopped Melbourne except on the kicks, which that's just luck of the draw, 3 tries from kicks. Obviously, Pappy missed a few conversions, but yeah, that doesn't really, come into it. I just think Moses coming back, even after last week, he encourages that side so well, gets the boys up with their line speed, their aggression, which obviously he's not the forefront in making the tackles, but he gets everyone up, doesn't he? He brings the energy. Even against us last week, I was watching him just get into the boys every time, just saying up and into them. Like, just brought that energy that makes them, aggressive, and it makes them scary, the Eels. Like, that's a scary side to face when they play him like that.
He's he brings, and we spoke about it last week on the show, myself and Trav. He just brings that competitiveness, which was lacking a little bit in my opinion. He just, whether they're on this rebuild year or not, he just basically says, and he said it last week, said it again this week, he's there to win. Like, he wants to win football games. It doesn't matter who's out there with him. He's out there. He wants to win a football game. And I felt like that mentality has rubbed off in a lot. And I have noticed since he's been back, just that extra level that it feels like a lot of those players have gone to now, which as a fan, it does excite me for the future. But I do tend to agree with Moses, where it was disappointing because we did still lose on the weekend, and there was a number of times where we shot ourselves in the foot. And against a team like the Melbourne Storm, who just need one little chance to punish you, like we've watched them do so many times in the past, that was frustrating because we did it to ourselves. We did in the end, and it was just unfortunate. Trav, I know you had a nice little smirk on your face when this win happened. You would have for sure. I was surprised you didn't cop it at full time. You held off, which I was pleasantly surprised about. Kind of happy about as well because I was so annoyed. This one actually really hurt me this week. It took me about 24 hours to get over this loss, but that was just because I was just disappointed in ourselves. What did you make of the game?
Storm are lucky. Statistically, like, I don't want to go, and I like stats, and I like reading into stats and things like that, and stats don't always tell the story, but statistically, we were better across the board. We had a better tackle efficiency. We had more kicks, more meters. We had more offloads. We had more tackle breaks. We had more runs. We got more meters. we had made less errors. Like statistically, we were a better team, but by watching it as the eye test and the way that game played out, we didn't deserve to win. Like I was watching that game just thinking we're in trouble here, and I thought we were in trouble for most of that game. What Para don't have and what they are missing is just class. It just at the end of the day, just a bit of class. And what got the Storm over was just that fine part of class at the end. Like, and the Xavier coach tries just a really good surmises of that, is that just that little bit of class. We off the back of an error. Yeah, it was an error. We get good field position. We go up the field. Munster does that kick out to Coates, puts it on top of Lomax. Nothing Lomax can do there. Lomax is a gun in the air himself. There's nothing he can do. When you get the ball put literally on top of your head, Lomax can't run 5 meters back to run 5 meters forward while Coates has run 20 meters to get there. Like it's nothing he could do. It's just that little bit of class that that we had over the course of the game that were able to get us that win. And we were lucky. I rang you on the next day and I just said, look, it's not convincing. I'm very disappointed in the way that game was officiated. I'm looking at some of the statistics here, and it's like I'm talking. I said to you on the phone, I can't believe how many inside 10-meter penalties were called. But I'm looking here, and there's only one. But I can distinctly remember at least 5 that got pulled up on the thing. Like it was the Thursday. Was sitting there going. I was watching that game thinking, okay, so here's the new one that they're going to call this weekend. And then the whole thing just disappeared. And it was, I'd never seen another one all year, all weekend. It was just odd. It was a really odd game, but yeah. Para should be stoked. You guys should be really happy. And I'm going to give full credit where it's due. You guys just didn't have that last bit of class to get things done. And the 14 errors, they were killers. Particularly on one guy that you gave a shout out last week, I think was an absolute. Oh, he was horrible for you, horrible, and really cost you that game. I feel, and I'm being harsh there, but he really did. His ball handling was poor. His decision making was poor. He had no go ahead on his runs, and he was just Hopgood, unfortunately, yeah, Hopgood. He was just terrible on Thursday night, and it really cost you. And his errors, they were really bad spots, like at the 10, 20 meter mark where you were giving it back to us straight away. Yeah.
Let me just say on Parramatta lacking the class, definitely, I think their season has been really hampered by injuries. Moses is a massive loss. He's so influential to that side. Into a pre-season next year with the coach, Riles, and they do have class, Addo Carr and Lomax, they're finishers, they're rep or ex-rep players. With Moses, he's 32 next year, so he's in his prime. He's the best halfback, in my opinion, in the NRL. He's a great player. So I think Parramatta have got all the potential in the world coming into next year.
I do think this game, more than any so far that he has missed, we really missed Iongi. I think we've seen the impact that Iongi has on this team already, because Joe Ash, I felt like there was a number of times on the weekend where he didn't really execute on 3-on-2s and overlap sort of plays, where he just sort of passed the ball for the sake of it instead of actually engaging with the line, getting a defender and then passing it. There was a couple of times there where we could have been on a break, and having Addo Carr on the back of a couple of those, you'd probably say would have been a try. So a bit disappointing there, but again, he's learning, and we still have a number of young kids who are there learning. I do want to get off this thing. There's a couple of topics obviously to talk about. Just one other quick question for you, Trav. Just it will be asked, obviously, post the first game without Jerome Hughes, but I just wanted to know your thoughts, just how you felt the boys or your boys went with no Hughes.
Yeah, it was disappointing. We didn't play very well, but I think that was also a credit to Eels not letting us play well. I think that was definitely an iron-out game. I thought Wishart was pretty good. I think Wishart offered us a lot of what I was hoping for, and I think he's only going to get stronger as he gets more games in his belt. Obviously, come finals time, Hughes is going to be the guy, but I thought Wishart was good. I thought Munster was was poor. Decision making errors, penalties he gave away, like the 3 high tackles and then a couple other ones. He was just he set up that first Katoa try with a couple of kicks beforehand. That really just set that up, and then he just put it on Katoa's head. He set up the one for Coates really well. So he just had that class to finish off where we really needed him. But if you think about it, like he's been in and out the last few weeks. He's had a lot on his mind. So it was kind of a bit of an ironing out game. Stefano Tukamanu has been absolutely unreal the last 2 weeks, and deserves every bit of credit that he's gotten over these last 2 games. Has really shown why we signed him and what we need from him and how he's going to continue on. And if we can build off the back of that, we're going to be fine, knowing that we've got Hughes coming back. It's easy to deal with a game like that when you know in the back of your head that the dude's coming back. It's really hard to deal with that game if I knew that Hughes was not going to come back at all. That would be a whole different mind frame. But well, we got it done. We had to get it done. I'm just concerned because I haven't actually seen us play a full 80 at all yet for a very long time. And that's a concern 5 weeks out from finals.
At least you'll be in finals, so you got plenty of time at the moment to work all that out. At the moment, you're actually in a chance to get that minor premiership as well.
Big losses on the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Moving on, Finns are up on the weekend. Well, at least for the result, that was a remarkable finish to that game, and their opening to that match, how they just went there with obviously a plan to start really fast and try and take the crowd away from it. Worked an absolute treat. They were sensational, and then you can almost pinpoint the moment. Unfortunately, it was where a sniper got Herbie Farnworth. They did go downhill a bit. They did a great job of actually wrestling that game back, and then obviously pulling off that remarkable try. I love the fact that they didn't just kick it for the sake of it. We see so many times when teams are in that position, they'll just kick and hope for the best, where they actually just threw it around a bit, played a bit of backyard footy, which I personally just loved, having that bit of a touch football background myself. So that was awesome to just see him just continue to go through the hands. And I always say, if you just keep going through the hands, a hole will open up. Like if you can just somehow keep the ball alive, there'll be something and they had a player down at that stage as well. So that's remarkable. But post that, where the come down happens, you start to realize, hang on a second, the Dolphins are in a top 8 battle at the moment, and they've just lost probably their best player of the last 2 years, Herbie Farnworth. It's a massive blow, and the way nothing's been out to confirm this yet, but the way it happened, he's went down, he's carry on. I think it's pretty much season done for Herbie, unfortunately. It looks that way anyway. So that is a massive blow. Matt, watching them that first 15 minutes or so was thinking they're a shoo-in for the top 8. And now with that Herbie factor in there, can the Dolphins be a threat without Herbie Farnworth?
Well, it is a blow. It's a massive blow. The Dolphins can just give early good ball to Herbie and he'll just make something happen, can't he? Because he doesn't play Origin and stuff like that. He doesn't get the eyes on him that he maybe deserves. He's a top 2 center for mine. You could nearly say he's the best center in the NRL, at least this year. For mine.
No, easily.
So they're going to struggle. Obviously, who do they bring in? Obviously, the main thought everyone would say is probably Trey Fuller. He came back from a knee injury late May is when he was right to return, but he didn't play his first game till June 14 in the Q Cup. He scored a try in his first game, but I followed along and just looked at all the games that he played, and he didn't seem to feature too much. Who did was Ethan Quai-Ward. I don't know if anyone's familiar with him. He played one game for Canterbury in 2023, I believe. He's been around for a little while. He's played in Q Cup Grand Finals. But yeah, he seems to top a lot of the top stats in the Q Cup for the Dolphins. So I reckon he could be a good shout. He could play that centre role, keep Hammer where he is, where I think he's dangerous. Keeping him on one side, I think you're wasting him. And he can't do what Herbie can do. He's a different player. So yeah, that's what I would personally do.
Trav, where would you go with it? It's a great segue into the next point I was going to raise. And That kid, he sounds like a goer, and I've heard that about the Dolphins now. For they've got a couple of really good, talented players coming through the ranks. Me personally, straight away when it happened, I thought Hammer to centre, Fuller to fullback would have been the better way to go. We've seen Hammer at Origin level carve up in the centres and do a really good job. I was a bit disappointed in the Hammers game on the weekend, if I'm being honest. I thought when Herbie did go down, it was his chance to step up and really take control of that game. And I think he failed at doing that. And he's done that a couple of times this year where I think because of his flashy moments, it often overrides a lot of the other stuff that he actually doesn't do as a fullback, that if it was Latrell or Turbo and things like that, they get really criticised for. And Herbie, not Herbie, the Hammer does get away from that criticism somewhat because he can just come up with this flashy try that overcomes it all. But Trav, where would you go with it?
So I'll take one step back and then lead into that. But the question of can the Dolphins be a threat without Herbie? I don't think the Dolphins were ever going to be top four. I don't think the Dolphins will be the last four. I think the Dolphins will still make finals. I think the Dolphins are in a good position to still play finals. Is the Herbie loss going to be a loss? Hell yeah. Like in no doubt, he is the best center in the competition. No doubt. Okay, there's an argument to make for Crittas. I think Herbie is actually above him. They're different players, but I think Herbie is above him for what he offers. And we can make that argument. That's a whole nother podcast. But there is no doubt that they will miss him. But you have an Origin center that has dominated Origin sitting in your fullback spot that time and time again, game after game, disappears for large chunks of it and then pops up in the middle of nowhere off a big run from Herbie. Or off a big run from Nicarima, or off a big run off Isako, and then he goes and grabs that little offload, or he gets that last pass and runs it in, and everyone screams how good Hammer is. I love Hammer, and I sound like I'm not going to. I'm coming off like I'm a Hammer hater here, but I'm a massive fan of Hammer. I really like him, and Joel can attest to that. I've been a big fan of his the last couple of years, but my problem for Hammer is whilst he is a good fullback, I don't think he's a good enough one. And I think when you've got guys like Trey Fuller, who showed last year that he is their fullback and should be their fullback, and I've gone and had a look at the stats, which you did too, Matt, and you're right, they're not good. 6 appearances, 1 try, 4 try assists, 1 line break, 9 tackle breaks. That's not great. They're not great numbers. So form-wise, he's not. But he has statistically shown form-wise in the NRL. So I think he deserves a shot, especially in this position. I have heard about who you called there, Matt. I haven't actually seen him, so I don't know anything about him other than what I've read. And statistically, he's immense. So again, for me, has he been doing that at the centres, though, or has he been doing that at fullback?
So he plays all across the back line. I've seen him play wing. I've seen him play centre. I've seen him play fullback. See, personally, you
could probably put him in fullback and put Hammer in, because I've seen some of his stats at fullback and they're awesome. So I would swap that around. In my opinion, are you going to get like for like Herbie for Hammer? Absolutely not. But are you going to get attacking power? Hell yeah. And if anything, you're probably going to get slightly below the Herbie attacking power, but I think you're still going to get good attack off Hammer. And I get what you're saying. You're going to stick Hammer to the side. Tell Hammer to go and be like a turbo. Go and roam, go and float. He's quick enough to get back to his edge when he needs to. So, yeah, I would like that. But do I still think that they're going to be a threat? Yeah, I think they'll make the final still.
Just want to say, they put Hammer at centre in Origin because the whole team's littered with quality. You can afford to put the Hammer at centre because everyone's good. The fullback, the tries that Hammer does score, and I do agree that, he might do 11 runs in one game. Sure, that's Latrell numbers. I love Latrell, by the way. I reckon he's awesome. But some of the tries that Hammer scores, no one else can. So he has to be there. He's the spark, and especially at a team like the Dolphins, someone like that just running through the ruck, that's what they need. I don't think that you move him for the injury for Herbie. I think you put a like for like in for Herbie. Do what you can. Obviously, there is no like for like. He's the best center, but why move one of the best fullbacks? That's my thoughts anyway. So I would leave Hammer. I would bring in someone and and like that Ethan Ward, he's about 6'3". He's a good build. You know, he's a solid build of a man. He's athletic. I think he could do a job.
It's a tough one at the moment because the Dolphins on the verge of history as well. Let's not hide away from that. They can be the first Dolphins team to make the finals after what this is now year 3 for them, which will be a huge achievement in itself. So I'm sort of on the fence like obviously the rookie and his numbers, that's awesome to see. But at the same time, coming into first grade now with that expectation of let's keep this ship going. They've got some tougher games. They've got a couple of really big games coming up where they'll verse, I think, the Roosters and Manly almost back to back, where all those 3 teams are going to be battling out, in my opinion, for that 8th spot. So they're huge 4-point swing games. Do you put sort of a youngster in that position and that pressure, or do you go the more safer option, which is still a very good attacking option and good quality option in terms of shifting the hammer to centre and having Fuller, who's played first grade before, done a really good job, was one of their best players last year when he was asked to play, and you put him at fullback just to stabilise the ship and just to make sure there isn't too much mix up there. That's the only other way I'm sort of thinking about it, because
I could see that. I can for sure see that. He's been in. He played in the 2021 Queensland Cup Grand Final. Like, he's been around for a little while. The kid, he's a winner. He's not that young. I think he might be. Trav, you might have it there. He might be 23. He might be 24. You know, so he's been around the block. He's played his fair share of footy. He's been through the Broncos system, maybe South and Canterbury. So he's been around. He can play. I don't know. I'd back him in, but I can see what you're saying for sure.
He might be ready to go.
I just think, he might be, but I just think that and it's easy to do because it's Herbie, man, and he's a freak. But they do so much through their centers, and they do so much through their halves. And so I think you need to, by putting someone else in, you're changing almost your whole bloodline of what they've been like the last 10 weeks, where they've actually absolutely dominated teams, which is why I think you're not getting like for like. You're never going to be able to replace Herbie Farnworth. Let's be simple. Let's be very clear with that. But they do a lot through their centers, and they do a lot through Herbie. And I think they need to keep that edge locked down. And that's why I think Hammer needs to go there. I think there's, so you're losing that Hammer spark. You're losing that Hammer speed. But there's only one freaking Hammer in the competition. There ain't no one else like Hammer, right? So I think you can replace Hammer at fullback and get something good still too. Like, if you can get anything out of Trey Fuller, like the South Rabbitohs got out of Jai Gray, you're winning if you can put Hammer into a centers and go from that. Anyways, it's going to be a very interesting next 5 weeks. I did read today that there's slight hope that it's only a 4 to 6 week hammy. So
that'd be huge.
That would be enormous. 4 weeks means he's back for the last game. Let's just see what happens.
They generally aren't too much longer than that anyway. It's just whether
it depends on how bad it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends if he can get himself up to full flight, being on an edge and that, like he's not playing as a prop.
Especially the way that he plays and the power that he plays through his legs.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah. I hope I'm actually really excited to hear Avarillo responds to this as well, because I feel like he's been in a bit of form at the moment, and I actually feel like this could help him elevate even more, and they actually use his side of the field a little bit more also. So
it is much happier, because that means Asako might touch the ball. But I love that shout out, because he's been huge. Avarillo has been enormous. And have a think about the adversity that he's had to play this year. Like, he's had to go through like 5 different roles. He has to constantly, he's missed a fix it. He just keeps getting pushed around, and he's just dominating every time. And he's just dominated each time. Like, he got 195 meters on the weekend. The week before, he played 5'8" and absolutely towed him up. Like, he's got some wheels on him. And how much better do the Dolphins look with Nikorima at 5'8"? Like, and that's not discrediting Avarillo, because Avarillo did a really good job the week before, but God, they look so much better with Katoa, and they're just a much better match, Katoa and Nikorima. Oh man, that's why I'm not worried about the threat of the Dolphins making 8, because just having these dudes come back is huge. Did we hear about Kafusi? Did he get suspended?
No, I haven't heard anything yet confirmed. I think that'll is tomorrow, but That was a dumb play. That was
Oh,
just
dumb. It was so stupid.
dumb, man.
So stupid.
Like,
Yeah.
well, he's just got back as well. It's just I don't think it's confirmed yet, but surely the retirement's very close to him at the moment because
He's so important to that team, though. That's the thing. He's so
his
important.
experience just needs to be on the field. They need him, especially against the Roosters and Manly coming up. They really need that experience out there to just calm a lot of them down. Moving on, there was an absolute, and I reckon in the lead up to this weekend, there was a number of people who I got the vibe of had this down as this is a game I can probably skip, take the wife and kids out for the afternoon, have a late lunch, get in the good books, and I'll go sit down and watch the last two Saturday games. You miss an absolute. I'll go as far as saying I actually reckon this could be the game of the year to date. It was phenomenal game. That second half had everything. I actually, at halftime, I was sitting there to myself with Nathan Cleary, the C, me super coach, going, this, honestly, I could be looking at a 300 or something once I get a couple of 150 times 2 with him. And Edwards there started looking like he was starting to warm up, but then credit to the Titans. We will talk about the Titans in a minute, but I just want to go, Nathan Cleary, you are an absolute freak. Like, you should have seen, I should need to start recording myself watching or something because you just should have seen my reaction when it happened. It was as if Parramatta almost won the grand final. My reaction, I think the missus thought I was going crazy, but it was ridiculous. And to watch how the play before and then how he literally like ran back to make sure he was in that position. Mitch Kenny's pass was sensational, but Cleary, and just to have that moment and the thing is, he's done it before. Like, this isn't a fluke for him. He did it. I remember being as a Paraffin. He did it to us last year. I think it was his last year or the year before. Can't remember. It's a lot happened for us, but he's just a freaking freak. We really want to swear right now, but I'll try and prevent it because it was a special, special moment, Trav. Like, what a finish. Cometh the man, cometh the moment. And Nathan Cleary, I know people will go at him for Origin, and rightly so. Like, his Origin form, but we're not talking Origin anymore. We're talking about NRL again. We're back in the NRL scene. They're on a charge at the moment. And while they've got this guy there pulling the strings, goodness me.
I'm actually going to be. I'm one of those guys. So at halftime, I scraped myself through that first half, and I went, "Oh, this is a poo slinger. I'm out of here."
No.
And I flicked it off. And I got up and I said to my wife, I'm like, you guys, oh, sorry, actually, no, what actually happened was I said to my wife before the game, I'm not going to go to the birthday party. My daughter had a birthday party. So like, no, I'm going to stay. I'm going to watch. I want to watch this. Halftime happened. I messaged my wife and I said, I'm actually going to come because this game sucks. And I started getting ready and I looked at the scores and I'm like, what's going on? Bang. I missed half of that second half and off they went. And yeah, but that last part of the second half was by far the best 25 minutes of footy that I've watched all year, by miles. Watching JC turn it on and watching Brimson turn it on like they did, just holy moly. To do that against the Penrith Panthers is just freakish. And I sat there thinking, God, I'm privileged to be able to watch this stuff every weekend. It's awesome. Then to go and then to watch Cleary do what he did, and I'm glad you touched on it. That whole set was built for that moment. Like the way that Penrith just meticulously moved that ball to get to where they were, then to move it to the left side so that Kenny could get the perfect position to go to his strong side, to throw that out, to get it to Cleary so that he could catch it so he could drop his left foot and drop that bomb from 40. Oh, man, it was like centimeter perfect. And watching that was just poetry in motion, that whole set. It was just unreal. And so full credit to the Penrith Panthers and the coaching staff and everyone, because that whole set was clearly practiced and has been clearly practiced so much. And it's so good to see. I'm not huge on the whole like X's and O's of rugby league, but watching that, I was just like, oh man, how good is it to watch that and watch the difference of the way that can be set up and that set play. Oh, it was just unreal. Nathan Cleary is a freak. And I'm really annoyed that you even brought up Origin because it shouldn't be. Nathan Cleary NRL is by far the GOAT. He's locked it in. There has not been a more skillful player that can manage a club and manage a team better than what he's been able to do. He's amazing.
He only speaks GOAT, Nathan Cleary. Matt, talk to us. That moment, Nathan Cleary, goodness me, that was just
incredible. Yeah,
special.
no, he's a freak. And, anyone that wants to go out and bag him for his Origin performances, the bloke is 26. He's so young still. He's got so much time to do, to reach those heights. And I believe he will. Penrith started off the year, what was it, 0-5? 0-5?
Yeah.
No club has ever won a comp going from 0-5. They're breaking records.
Oh no, sorry. I think they won Vegas. They
won Vegas. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. There was I do believe there was a stat at the start of the year with how many they'd lost in a row. That team would never go on to win a premiership. And
yeah, you're right. They lost 5 in a row.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. They did lose 5 in a row because they did the World Club Challenge, didn't they? They didn't do Vegas.
No, they pulled out. They went to Vegas. They beat the Sharks in Vegas and then lost 5 in a row.
Correct.
And
Absolutely,
then beat the Roosters 40-12 in round 7.
Yeah. So they're breaking records all over the place, and it's all Nathan Cleary. He loses Jerome Luai last year, and we said they'd struggle, and they were. And we were all saying, oh look, he can't do it without this. Now look, he'll go into second receiver on purpose to deliver that last ball out to his centre to unload to give it to McLean, and then McLean gives it back inside to Talangi. He just puts himself in the positions that he's needed, whether it's halfback, 5'8". He's the master at the moment. 26. Let's remember that he is young.
He is. Just a quick one as well. The Isaiah Yeo potential injury, I think that could be massive for the Penrith Panthers. And he didn't come back on, obviously, post that shoulder issue. And I thought because the game was getting closer, they definitely would have had Yeo. I noticed this morning I seen a message come out that they've sent him straight for some immediate scans. They are slightly concerned about it now, probably more than they were.
They sent him for initial scans, which came out positive, so he's all good, or negative, sorry.
Yeah.
So he was all good, but there's still something there that the doctors wanted to check. So there's a little slight concern, but there's talk that he'll play on Friday. I think he misses out, but I think he'll be fine for at least one after that. So I don't think it's too big a concern.
Obviously, with the few games that have got to come after this week, I would probably give him that week off just to make sure everything is fine. Because if they lose Yeo for the year at any point, I don't think that, as good as Nathan Cleary is, he does need Yeo. Yeo does a lot for that side. If they were to lose Yeo, I just think that would be a hurt, a mountain too big to overcome, unfortunately. Trav mentioned it a bit earlier. I just want to touch on the Titans for a little bit and that comeback and how much they've been pushed. I actually went back. The last few weeks have actually not been too badly. They've been in a lot of games, and unfortunately, just when losing's in your DNA at the moment, which it is for them, you just find ways to lose. Like it just all of a sudden you just lose games, and it's just like becomes a habit. Losing becomes a habit, like they say, winning becomes a habit. And we just spoke about it with Penrith at the start of the year, but a player that I just can't believe they're even talking about the potential of shopping around, Jaden Campbell. What a freak. Like he was instrumental in this comeback, and his performance against the 4-time premiers now, and that was easily, they could have put the cue in the rack after halftime and gone, this is too hard. We're not coming back here. It's Penrith and see you later. He just doesn't stop. I cannot for the life of me believe that the Titans are even talking about getting rid of this guy. He's almost like the heartbeat of that Titans team at the moment. And I know obviously Tino was not there and he's been huge for this side, but JC is just their guy that hits that switch and gets them going, Matty. It's just I can't get it over. I can't wrap my head around the fact that they're potentially shopping this guy around.
Well, for mine, when you look at clubs selling players, they've got to look at selling players that other clubs are going to be interested in. That's how you free up your salary cap. You need other clubs to be interested in that player. And it would be a big loss but the Titans have how many fullbacks? They've got 3. I think Kinney's still injured, so he'll still come back.
But the Groot as well.
Well, yeah, well, there you go. So that it's a position that they've got so much wealth in, and I'm sure they don't want to lose Jaden Campbell. He's an incredible player. I would take Jaden Campbell at my club. I'd love to have him. I think a lot of clubs would feel the same. So I think that's probably the way that they're looking at it. It's a big loss anyway. He's a gun. I love watching him play. Incredible feet. He's got all the skills.
To be fair to the Titans, they probably don't have many players at the moment that many teams would want either. So
yeah, exactly right.
Be one of those unfortunate situations that JC finds himself in. That he's one of the only ones that clubs would go, I actually want him. Trav.
Exactly.
We just about it a little bit last week, but this performance just shows you and magnifies just how good this guy is.
Like, I know what Matty's saying, right? Like, they're loaded at fullback, but he's been playing halfback and he's killing it. Like, I think Jaden Campbell just needs to be. I said this about Keeney last year. The coach needs to last year just say to Keeney, "You're our fullback. This is your spot. Now go and play." And guess what happened? When he did it, guess what Keeney did? Keeney locked himself into the fullback role, and the only reason why he's not playing is because he's injured. And then he went off into his international series for New Zealand and actually dominated, right? That's what they need to do to Campbell. Just tell him, right? You are our halfback. You're our 7. It's locked down. This is your spot. Off you go. We're not going to drop you. We're not putting you at fullback. This is what it is. We'll build this team around you, and off you go. It makes absolute no sense to me. The most important position on the field is the halfback, and you're shopping the one guy that's showing potential at your club that wants to actually stay there because he has said that he wants to stay there, and yet you're still looking at trying to stop him. What the hell are you doing? It blows my mind, man. It absolutely blows my mind.
It's a headache. They've definitely got a headache there because you need to make sure to be the Titans at their best. They need to have Keeney, JC, and Brimson all in that team. The unfortunate thing for them is Brimson has shown time and time again, center for him just doesn't quite work. He just almost disappears a lot of the time when he is at center. And I don't think next year they can start the season with JC at halfback and Brimson at 6. I just don't think it quite works. There's too much. Yeah, and there's too much uncertainty in the way their structure is. And you just always need, in my opinion, like Foran, even though he wasn't fantastic again on the weekend, he still did his role perfectly for him, and he just navigates that team around the park, and that's what he does so well. They're going to really miss Foran next year. I've got no doubt about that. Interesting times ahead because I would not be getting rid of JC if I was the Gold Coast Titans. And that next coach that's coming in, I reckon when he gets the job and sits down, the first thing he will say to the board is, whatever you've tried to do with this man right now, avoid, and let's go and find another way to either free up salary if that's what we've got to do. Like players like Fafita, he's the one you need to push out and try and free up some cash. That's clearly not working. And you can surely get to a point where you can get yourself 400-500K spare and get rid of Fafita at least. So
save 650K and get rid of Campbell Gillard too. Oh man, he offers nothing.
Yeah, well, Super League. I can smell Super League on its way for him.
And they can't lose Fermor, Joel. They can't. I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off there, but I've got to say this because the talk happened this week. If we're going to talk about JC, there's got to be 3 they have to keep. The 3 is Tino, and they've got to fix something there. They've got to keep JC, and they cannot lose Fermor. There's a 3. Lock those 3 in and just let it be.
I agree. That's from mine. I said that sort of in our post we did the other day about the Titans and deep diving into their season next year. Is that the big decision I'd do is I'd sit down with Tino straight away, the next coach, and just say, let's get these clauses out of your contract. I know from your point of view it's great, but from my point of view and the club's point of view, we need to keep you there. Reward him with some, obviously, a better salary in terms of financially, but get him there long term, at least 5-6 years, keep him at the club. It needs to happen. Let's talk about a few things happening in these games today. So the Bulldogs versus the Tigers. The Tigers got up, Tiger. That was a remarkable effort, and Benji needs to tell them they're versing the Dogs each and every week, and they'll be finals football. Look out, Tigers are coming, because I've not seen that Tigers outfit for a long time. They just had something else in their blood today, which was awesome. I want to talk about something first of all that happened in this game, and to be honest with you, I'm quite furious with it, and it just doesn't make any sense. And when it happened, I was just couldn't believe it. I don't want to go first on this one though. I want to give it to you boys to first of all discuss the Stephen Crichton incident with Taylor May and him not being you put on a report. Taylor May was a Cat 1 HIA, wasn't able to come back to the game, misses next week as well, and all that Stephen Crichton got was a put on report. Now I know this isn't in Stephen Crichton. I get it was potentially an accident. He didn't mean for this to happen. I get it, but I believe there was other circumstances around this, which I'll talk about when I have my say. But let's go. Who wants to have the first say on this one? Let's go, Matty boy. Let's go the new kid on the block. What are your thoughts, mate, on this one?
Mate, it's just typical inconsistencies in the NRL.
Shock horror.
It's the one thing that honestly I think drives people off the game. It does my head in. I look at the game, honestly, like I'm 32 and I look at the game now and just think, what the fuck? What the hell is going on? What is happening? This isn't, you know, they say they're making the game better. You watch that, I think it's 2002 preliminary final, Newcastle versus the Roosters. You watch that Fittler and Johns. You can put that on today. That is such an enjoyable game. It's over-reffed, I believe. I think that the reffing today is over-reffed. The incident today is inconsistent with the whole season. It was virtually shoulder to the head. You were off at the start of this year.
Awful.
And that's slowly faded as Origins come in. You know, the season becomes a mess. The referees lose sight of what was important at the start of the year, and we're left with a mess come early round 20s, and they fix it up and it comes good in the semis. Why can't it be good like this all the time? Why can't they just leave the whistle in the pocket and have an enjoyable game of football where the two teams decide who wins? It's so frustrating for me to watch sometimes.
Trav. Oh, sorry. So are you just quickly, Matt, just so I get your answer on this. Do you think it should have been a sin bin?
Yes. Well, based on what the comp has been at the start of the year, yes, I do.
Yeah. Trav, I'll let you go next.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one because you made some interesting comments, Joel. No, Crichton didn't do it on purpose. There was no intent for Crichton to try and hit him through the head on purpose and do what he did. Actually, to be fair, most cases I don't think players are actually trying to belt people. And they're generally accidental, but that doesn't stop the actual incident. This is unfortunate for Crichton, and I'm going to say this is Taylor May slipped. It was bogged. It was wet. Taylor May fell down. Crichton decided to go shoulder drive. Right? That's the problem. Crichton decided to shoulder drive. He didn't just try to tackle him. He tried to shoulder drive him. When you make that decision to try and hit like that, you deal with the consequences of the hit. It's as simple as that. In my view, you have to deal with the consequences of what happens. There is not one conversation if Taylor May stays upright and Crichton goes through the chest and stomach like he originally intended to do. That's because that's what the intent was. Now, Crichton can't change his body motion halfway through doing a shoulder drive. It's impossible. He can't do that. So he now has to live with the fact that his shoulder goes through Taylor May's face and knocks him out. It's a Cat 1. That's what he has to do. That should have been a sin bin. That must be suspended. I'm sorry, but it has to be because if it only took 1 week, and I said this would happen, it only took 1 week. If Jack Whiten gets 3 weeks, I'm going to ignore that he got 4 because he went to the tribunal to try and get it changed, a judiciary, to get it changed. So I'm going to go through. If he gets 3 for that, Crichton has to at least get 2 to 3 for that. Has to. Seyfarth also should get suspended for his hit, who actually did get suspended. Who did get sin binned, which blows my mind that he got sin binned. I mean, his head was different too, but still blows my mind that he got sin binned, but Crichton doesn't. Right? So this is one of those moments that all the fans in the competition will go back to, and it's already happened. The top teams get looked after. The bottom teams don't. Crichton plays for a top team, and it just continues that shitty narrative that the NRL continue to keep allowing because they keep making piss poor decisions, like Matt has said.
I actually thought this decision was ridiculous, to say it nicely, because, and this is even before it was confirmed it was a Cat 1, but you could see, like, us plebs watching could see that this was a sin bin. It was direct contact to the head, and that's a sin bin. Like the rugby league that we all know, that is a sin bin, end of the day. And the fact that the bunker can once again watch this happen, again, I can forgive the referee for missing it live. I can forgive him, but I got nothing but there's excuses there for the bunker missing this. Like, they can't be missing this sort of stuff. They're looking at it with all their fancy screens in fully high definition and all this sort of thing, slowing it down to the T. If we can watch this on our normal TVs at home and see it, how can the bunker continue to miss this sort of stuff? Like, if that was in a final series, that is crucial. Like, that's the Tigers lose a player. Yeah, like there's comments out there, and it was in our group chat as well, and I just hate it. It's the comments around you can't sin bin a play because it destroys the game. Bullshit. The player's destroyed the game himself by doing a foul play option and choosing, like Trav rightly said, Crittas in that circumstance, he was trying to turn the game, so I get what he's trying to do, but he ran the risk. He ran the gauntlet that if it goes wrong and if Taylor Made does slip, which he did, there's a high chance that you're going to collect him high, direct force, you're off. Like that's end of story. You are sin bin. See you later for 10 minutes. How the NRL can just come up with this and go, like, I hope there's punishments coming down for whoever it was in the bunker after this game, because that was a disgraceful decision that really could have changed things up. The Cat 1 side of things, though, like, if that goes and that happens, no worries. If it comes back a minute later and it's a Cat 1, it's confirmed, isn't there a way like we can go and go, you know what, stop the game, Crittas, by the way, that's now a Cat 1, see you later, you're off for 10? Like, and there'll be people that go, oh, there'll be clubs that play to that. No, there won't be, because that means they lose a player for an extra week. Like, well, who would want to be putting their player out for an extra further week? I can't get that logic. So I don't know. I just feel like the whole thing sat really wrong for me, and I don't agree at all with it. And I feel like there needs to be a way moving forward to make sure this sort of stuff doesn't happen again. And sometimes we just need to call it as it is. And the officiating on that call was horrendous. It was a horrible call that, and it brings it up that these better teams get these decisions, and it's these sorts of calls that make people feel that way. But yeah, he should be suspended, in my opinion. I agree with that, Trav. And couple of weeks, 2 weeks at least, for a forceful direct hit. Yeah, go from there. Hey, it is Stephen Crichton for the Bulldogs. He'll get nothing.
It won't. Yeah, it won't surprise me if nothing. Yeah, or well, I don't know. I've got some serious doubts. I just have no trust in the system. I've no trust in the NRL at the moment. I think he will too, and he should, but I just don't trust it. I just don't. And then listening to Serrauto, and Serrauto's got to play his coach card and that, but to listen to what he said and the way he said it, like all he said was no, please. Like it's just them trying to fight this notion of, we know what's happened, but he'll probably get off. Like I don't like it. I really don't. And I think it's a disgrace. And I haven't liked it for a few weeks, and it's now just had to have Jack Whiten come up and make a decision about it again. And I really don't. And I just don't like that now the example's been set. Yeah. But the example's been set. So will the NRL actually follow through on it? And if they do, fans are going to be like, okay, cool. And we'll be okay with that. And we will be. We'll be okay with that if it's consistent.
Yeah, well, that's right, Trav. We have a player at the moment running around in the NRL, Francis Molo. The whole reason this whole shoulder charge became a thing, 2015-ish, I believe the year was. Francis Molo shoulder charged a bloke named Jason Ackerman, I think his name was, to the head in a Queensland Rugby League match in a QRL. And it resulted in Jason passing away. So that's what happened. A man lost his life. That was a park footballer, and that sort of brought a lot of things to light, and we've got to remember that at the end of the day, it is a dangerous game, and I think they know what they're signing up to. But we've got to find that balance of looking after the player and then not wrecking our game as well. You know, we don't want the worst things happening, like your Alex McKinnons or the incident I just mentioned. But you know, this is a professional game. This isn't what juniors play. You know, it should have a warning. Do not try this at home. This is a game played by, you know, a very low percentage of men that could do this. You know, this isn't your everyday bloke that can do this game. And yeah, we have to know that.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. And it's just, we do need to protect the players, and we just need to make it a blanket rule, I feel like. And I feel like it should be, and it is. It's not appreciated.
We shouldn't even be discussing that.
No. Next in for here, Adam Dewey for the Tigers. Like, first of all, absolutely an enormous performance from the West Tigers today. But Adam Dewey, once again, I feel like since this whole rumors around his contracts not being extended at the moment has come out, or they're lowballing the Tigers, Dewey's just gone on an absolute tear, and he's played multiple positions over the last few weeks to do it. He was huge today. Like, he was the standout, and there was a couple of really good Tigers players in this, and to be the standout of this game says something. And in the conditions, because in the conditions, and you see his numbers and you see how he played, you'd almost think he was playing on a dry track and everyone else was playing on a wet one. Like, he was just, I want to know what you guys think he's worth, because I'll say right now, I reckon he's worth more to the Tigers actually than he is to another club, if that makes sense to you both, because they need him to stay. And we've seen how passionate he is about that club in the past, and he's been brought to tears a number of times on the football field or in the shed, whether it's a bad loss, and just how the form is. And he's really worn a lot of the past seasons by the West Tigers. They're now getting themselves to a point where they've got their most competitive team we've seen for, 5-6 years there. And he's now putting in some form. So if they've lowballed him, let's say it's 250 at the moment, they need to hurry up and find a way to get up to 450 or something for him, because he's a huge player. He's a great player, and we've seen it time and time again. Like, as I said, it's a really good form of the last month or so, but Trav, his current performances are just demanding either re-sign me now, or I'll get some pretty decent dollars elsewhere.
Isn't it amazing how when contracts are up and about and spoken about, how there's a little pep in your step and you start to play just a little bit better? I reckon he's got his boombox cranking with that song "Money Talks" just constantly on the go. Money talks. Like, I reckon he's just cranking that because that's what he's playing for, right? And then that's what it is, eh? Like, the problem is that Dewey's worth what his history is telling us. And his history is saying that he's an injury-riddled player, unfortunately. And if healthy, he's different. And so, therefore, I see the tentativeness from the Tigers by not wanting to pay him that much, because, you know, your history is saying that you miss pretty much every game every year. Like, you know, and that's very harsh. He hasn't missed that much. But you know, that's what the history is suggesting, and that's what the Tigers' tentativeness is at. He's not at a position, I feel, yet, just with the way that he's been playing. And look, he has been phenomenal the last few weeks. And today he got thrust back into the halfback spot, and into the half spot. And I really love that move. And I thought that was a masterclass move by Benji. One of the few coaching decisions I've liked from Benji in the last 2 years. But I thought that was a great decision today, particularly in that game with that weather. But he's definitely, in my view, not in a position to be saying and demanding money. I don't think he's in that position just yet. And I think he needs to turn around and say, I've signed for decent money. I've been here a long time. I have been injured. I am worth this much, but I'm not worth this big dollars. But if he can chase that and get big dollars, then go and do it. I've never held anyone back. But I just think sometimes with someone like Dewey, there's got to be a bit of faith paid back. And I think this is an opportunity for him to do that.
Yeah, this year is so far in the last 4 years, he has played the most amount of games this year. So 2022, played 11 games, 2023, 6 games, last year, 7 games, and now this year he's played 19. I'm not sure if that's updated today or not, but it could be 20 games after this game, but not too sure there. It is. You make a valid point there because there is a bit of, well, the Tigers stuck by you for so long there. You see those numbers. It's not great. Obviously, players can't control injuries and it's very unfortunate a lot. But there is a bit of a balance there because I do think without him, the Tigers not as good as they could be with him. So it's just a balancing act, really, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. Dewey's today, he was incredible. First receiver, getting to the dummy half, the scoot, the draw in, the pass for the try.
I like him
I
in the
think the
halves.
third try, Appy's kick, that was all because Dway was on the outside, and all the Bulldogs were looking at him because he'd been the danger man the whole time. So Appy had the sense to look to him and then go to the other side with that short, the kick down the short side, So he was dangerous today. I think he's done 5 ACLs. So that's probably the worry in signing him, which it does make sense, but maybe you could sign him on some sort of, play a certain amount of games, receive some sort of bonus, something could work like that, So I'd try and find any way I could to keep him if I was the Tigers. Yeah, he's a weapon.
Yeah, I was the history of games is a bit of a hindrance to the Tigers, so I do understand a little bit about that. If the room number of 250, I think that is a little bit low, just for what we've seen and what he can do this year. So I'd probably go up a little bit from that, but I do get they want to probably keep the salary cap in order
That
as
can't be
well.
right. Did they really say 250? They didn't say 250, did they?
That's the rumor that I did see.
See,
So,
that is a low ball. That is a silly low ball.
That's
yeah.
That's the better part
last
of a
topic.
rookie.
Yeah. Hey, let's not go back into that conversation. Let's go. Last topic of the night. It's our favorite topic. I feel like we have gone away from him for a few weeks. So we're back, and shout out to you, Toddy Payton, because I've just got to say now, surely this man's coaching career at the Cowboys has come to an end at the end of this season. Am I wrong in saying that? Do any of you have a differing opinion to this one, Matt? I'll go to you since Trav's having a coffin fit. He's finally got to one at the end of the night.
Yeah, mate. He's had a rough year, Peyton. So I had a look at their team list before we jumped on the potty today. I counted up 6 current or very recent rep players in terms of Cotter, Dearden, Nanai, Hess, Robson, Talangi. So a bit of quality there. And then some experience in Tamalalo's still there, which I get that he's been how he has been, but he could still provide something, surely. And then you got Bateman, and he's not Canberra Bateman, but he's an experienced player. So they've got enough quality out there. Yeah, well, they've got drink. Yeah, and he hasn't even played rep, but he's right on that doorstep as well. They've got quality everywhere. When you're stuffing around and putting blokes like Purdue at 5'8", who even through juniors has never looked like a 5'8", he's looked like a fullback. Instead of playing Clifford, who's, in my opinion, a really solid half, especially when you're pairing him up with Dearden. That just seems obvious. Purdue's very new in the game. I think that blooding someone out wide is generally the way to go. A lot of clubs do that and have success. He's got some wheels on him too, Purdue. So I don't get why you don't leave him out wide and where he has been playing well. But yeah, it's just, I don't get why you drop Clifford. It is so dumb.
Peyton Logic. We've been big fans of Peyton on this podcast for a while now. And at the start, I think fans used to give it to us, but I think majority of those have actually gotten on board now. So
you got to come around.
It's good to have him. Or Trav, we've been saying it for a while now, but surely he's got just over a month of football left, and it'll be a thank you for your services and goodbye.
It has to be, man. Like, how can they go every single preseason with such a bad defense and it's never addressed? Right now, they are the worst defense in the competition. They've allowed 595 points. That's the most. Do you know who's underneath that?
Probably the Tigers.
The Titans at 549. They're 46 points worse than the Titans. And then underneath that, for as bad as the Rabbitohs have been for so long, they're 538. So they're 60 points worse. Their point differential is the second worst in the competition. The Rabbitohs can't score, so that's why they're so bad. But their points differential is the worst, minus 177. And then we want to talk around how good that list is with all of those, rep footy players. We then add in your drink waters. There's actually a whole list on that team that are quality good guys, that good players that I would happily steal and take and put in my Storm team. Would happily. Yet year on, year out, they continue to keep putting up that rubbish, and the coach keeps getting away with it. And it makes zero sense how he can go into a preseason and literally every content creator, every journalist, every commentator, every Fox Sports program talks. Cowboys need to fix their defense. Their offense is great. Well, actually, this year their offense isn't even that good, but their offense is great. And they can score tries, and they're flashy, and they're great, but they've got to do something with their defense. And year on, year out, it doesn't get fixed. And guess where they are? They're on 13th on the ladder, and mathematically they can still make it. But as Joel can tell you, it ain't going to happen. It's dumbfounding how the coach can get away with that year on, year out and not have it addressed.
He saved himself once or twice with the odd finals appearance and scraping in, but you're right, Trav. Even in those finals appearances, it's always been the defense still. And to just show up so many times like they've done this year and to make at times some unnecessary changes, I feel like Todd Payten's been as a result of overcoaching at times this year, where he's just for some reason made decisions when a lot of the time there wasn't needed to be made. It was just like he was trying to send a message that didn't really need to be sent. Like I'll go back and think about that big time where he obviously used Jason Tamalolo as his scapegoat and put him on the bench and dropped him and said all these things about his minutes and things like that. And that was his time to go to this club and go, this is who I am. But it's always had that little bit of a vibe for me that some of those players there haven't completely brought into what Todd Payten has brought to that club even to this day. And I think that has a bit to do with the defense as well. We always hear all the top pundits of the game talk about defense being an attitude. And for mine, the attitude for the Cowboys has always been, let's score 30 points. But you know what? If the other team scores 20, 24 points or even 36 points, you know what? At least we scored 30. Like, that's cool. Like, we scored some points where the other teams out there, they'll get to 30 points scorelines and be beating teams 30-6, let's say. And they'll say, let's keep them to 6, let's keep them to 0, where the Cowboys just don't care. They'll just go, yeah, sweet, we've got to 30. We've got you a try, we've got you a try, and they just forget completely about defense. Like, there's some games, and like today was one of those, where actually you question, did they even go to training this week? Did they turn up and actually, did they know half of this playing group together? Like, they just play like complete strangers. And that, for mine, goes back to the coach and the atmosphere and the togetherness that he's bringing to that club, that just feels like now's the time to move on. And I've always said it all along. I don't know if you boys agree with this one, but Josh Hannay for mine would be the go-to choice to take over from Todd Payten, and that Cowboys background as a Cowboy great there. I think he'd pick up and really put that. When he was there, they had quite a positive, obviously, results there at that club, and how they were. So I'd be putting Josh Hannay in. I'd be almost making that announcement and signing that contract tomorrow after seeing how that club went today. But that's how I'd go about it moving forward.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And just on Toddy Payten, a few of the just looks outside looking in, you know, he rocks in wearing jewelry. He's very sort of like, what's going on there, mate? You know, no other coach is doing that. Like,
it's cool.
You've got this image like you're the cool dude, sort of like bouncer out the front of at the club, you know, I'm not letting anyone in, sort of stuff, you know. It's like, bro, I don't know. You're not coach material, in my opinion. Like, I'd bag on front rowers, but Riles, he seems to be doing all right at Para, so it's not a front row issue. I think he's just lacking the smarts between the years, personally. But yeah, good shout on Hannay. He's a club legend and been around the scene for a while, Queensland and whatnot. So yeah, I don't mind that.
I think Josh Hannay could be good anywhere. I think whoever can get him is going to be great. So,
yeah, he
hurry
seems
up,
to be
somebody.
more.
I'm very surprised he hasn't been picked up. Like, if you think of how hard Para went for Riles last year, I think Hannay's got a better resume and better position than what Riles had. Why are they not picking him up? It is quite perplexing with that. But anyways,
It was down to those two for the Parramatta job, so they just went for Riles in
Might be
the storm
location
system. The Riles storm system, I think, got him over the line in the end. So that's it. That's all we've got time for now. We've gone over our allotted time frame, but I appreciate everyone out there who has listened in. And Matt, I think you've been great on debut. It's been a debut to remember. I'll give you that shout out now. As the nerves, they calm down. You're good now.
Yeah. At the start, I was a bit nervous, but yeah, warmed into it.
Mate, sensational in your history and your knowledge of the game. I think a lot of people out there will start to really appreciate you. I know I have straight away as well. It's very, very impressive tonight. So well done, Trav. Once again, this is probably one of your better podcasts. Only the one coughing fit I think I recorded. So that was okay. But we move on to a bigger and better week ahead. There is a couple of big shows to come.
Yeah, looking forward to Supercoach on Tuesday again. Let's have another chat. I've had a decent, successful week again, unlike you, but we'll leave that for a couple of days. And then Wednesday live show, let's go.
You have to mention it. On that note, on that really sour note, good night, guys. Thank you for listening. Smash that like and subscribe button. Follow us on the social media platforms. Just type in League of Inches. And if you want a hoodie, message the page. We'll organise that hoodie for you. Thank you very much. And we will talk to you Tuesday night, Supercoach, Wednesday night for our live show. Goodbye.